off the rails, baby allocated, so to speak, from Junction 35. That smells good. That might be because it was aged a full year in the Merlot cask. Mm-hmm. Well, welcome, dear listener, to the Savor the Burn podcast. My name is Jonathan. Across the table from me is Mr. W2. How do you do?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Tonight we are trying the Off the Rails experimental line from Junction 35, and they do so many different experimental lines. We got to be a little more specific. So this one is called the Red Eye Red. No.
Red Rye.
Red Rye. How did I fuck that up? The batch is a rye whiskey finished in a red wine barrel. It's a Merlot cask.
Based off of those numbers, that's a pretty low batch, too.
Yeah. They only made 316 bottles of this, and I got bottle number 186. I was looking for 187 because NWA. But it's cool. It's got a great proof. It's 116.46 proof. For those of you wanting the other math, it's 58.23% alcohol. It's a little 375 milliliter bottle. It's cool. It's got a little, I'm guessing this is supposed to be like a train ticket label, and I'm pretty sure since it's got this texture up here at the top, I bet that's what it's supposed to be. Yep. So I totally missed that when I was doing the bottle presentation. I dig this little bottle.
I do too.
It's pretty cool.
I think I'll be giving it a little higher mark for this presentation just because
I definitely will.
I mean, it's definitely a half the size bottle, but there's some nuances to the label that I think kind of help set it apart. And
yeah, the topper doesn't look like it was. It looks like a dark stain on a light wood, but I'm not gonna deduct points on that. It's a wood topper, composite cork. Getting into the weeds on the description on that, but right now I'm interested to see what Mr. W2 what you pulled up here on your notes from their website.
Not a whole lot. So, like you said, this is their experimental line. It's actually called the Junction 35 Off the Rails experiment line. And the whole idea behind this is them just trying a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Quick turn, kind of not as in cutting corners or not as in aging less, but trying different things. And so they're not producing full-size bottles of that.
Yeah.
So this is a 375 bottle. Based off of what your conversations with Willie, this should be a 5-year aged, and then put in the Merlot red wine cask for an additional year, giving a 6 total.
Yeah, so it's aged 5 years in a grade 3 level char, a char level 3 barrel. It's going to be their experimental line is generally no lower than 100 proof, but like you were saying, this was aged 5 years in the oak barrel, and then aged an extra year in a Merlot cask.
Yeah, and we're at 116.46 proof to be specific.
Yeah.
But the write-up on this says, Junction 35's experiment line is an ever-changing product line made from the finest ingredients. The mash bills, age, and barrels change with each batch. We didn't follow the train in front of us on this one. We decided to carve our own path to create a product that is truly off the rails. The whole point of this one is to try something completely different every different time. The cool thing, though, is because this is a small bottle and because of their approach on this is a single barrel offering.
Yep.
And so...
And what Willie was telling me, this was the same exact mash bill as their straight rye whiskey. It's 95% rye and 5% malt barley. So I'm expecting it to kind of remind us of that straight rye whiskey that we tried that was so unique with the mellow rye, with the kind of soft buttery finish or intent to be a soft buttery finish on that. So plus with the added distinctiveness that you get from red wine Merlot cask. And right off the bat on the nose, you get that.
Yeah.
You get that note, definitely. And that this nose note, the Merlot, the red wine note, it showed up in a lot of different whiskeys that we've tried over the course of the podcast.
I would think that now that I've kind of processed this, the darker color on this one is going to be from that Merlot cask.
Definitely. It's darker and it's redder.
Like we said before,
the legs are better.
I feel like already on the nose, the higher proof of this one is helping bring out a lot more of
it smells more like a
rye characteristics.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to. Yeah, so it doesn't have corn in it, but it's got a sweet hint to it. So I don't know what else they put in there.
Well, that may be, Merlot is a dry wine.
Yeah.
But even though it's dry, a Merlot will have a strong berry presence to it. And so I'm getting that on the nose on this.
I am too. I'm getting a strong fruitiness with a nuttiness to it.
Yep.
And it's kind of oaky.
Maybe a little bit of brown sugar.
Definitely rye. There's some kind of sugar in there. Could be burnt, could be brown, but I'm definitely ready to get this on the palate. There's that rye. Mm-hmm. There's the rye I wanted.
Ooh. And that wine cask really gives it
this is really
great
good
flavor. Wow.
With a subtle slight little bit of a licorice on the very tail end of the finish. I didn't know what to expect. I was looking forward to this, but I really didn't know what to expect.
The color on this one to me is kind of I would say a raisin caramel.
Yeah, you could say that on the color.
I'm gonna say raisin / deep caramel.
Yeah. On the nose, I wasn't wowed, and I wasn't even surprised. But I was very happy to find everything that I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm giving it a high mark for that. On the palate, kind of the same thing I'm going with. Only it was better than I expected. I expected there to be a Merlot note. I was hoping that there would be rye, even a little bit more rye than what their original offering, their straight rye whiskey, was going to give us. How well the rye was represented in this Off the Rails was superb.
Agreed.
And it was accentuated with the Merlot notes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was very, very happy with this, and I'm super fucking bummed that that's probably the only bottle left in the United States.
I'm thinking about, and even though it was a bourbon, that Navigator that we had. That Navigator bourbon.
Here we go. You're bringing up the Navigator.
I am bringing it up because I think this is a great representation of how a whiskey can be elevated to a new level with a red wine cask. Mm-hmm. That Navigator was so confusing and so I don't even know where to put it because it just the amount of influence that the wine had on that whiskey
and the winemakers.
Right.
It was a bourbon made by winemakers. If I remember right.
It almost squashed any characteristics that the bourbon was trying to bring to the table. This is a great marriage of rye whiskey with a Merlot finish. Yeah.
And, marriage, like you said, the way a marriage is intended to be is, one side of the marriage does everything it can to make the other side of the marriage do its best and look its best and be its best. So it's a friendly competition going on.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Like with you and Katie. Like, you're always putting her on a pedestal, whatever. She's always putting you on a pedestal, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe not so much just the idolization, but pushing each other to do better and be the best version of themselves that they can. Mm-hmm. That's what a marriage should be. So I think marriage, when you use that word in this circumstance, it was the perfect word to use, because that's exactly what this bourbon did with the Merlot influences, and that's what the Merlot influences did to the bourbon, the straight rye whiskey.
This is really fantastic.
This really, really is, and the extra aging in the cask, because what we got was
it shows.
What we got with the green label, the straight rye whiskey, was 3 years, and what we have here in this smaller bottle is 5 years plus another year in the Merlot. So we got at least 5 years. So I can't help but think just how good this Junction 35 straight rye whiskey would have been had we picked it up at the 5-year mark and at maybe barrel strength. But it's almost apples and oranges, even though it's the same whiskey sitting in the same barrel for so long before it got switched over into another barrel. This is something special. I mean, if Junction 35 ever listens to this, please make this a regular offering. Go back and find out what you did with your red rye experiment and repeat that and put that in a full-size bottle, and you've got yourself a fucking winner by far. And I love that they took the time, the extra time it took to make this, just on a as an experiment, just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And holy smokes, this is good. Get this on the palate again so I can mark the finish in my numbers here. I'm ready to go back to Pigeon Forge. I guarantee you. Yeah, right. Let's get in the truck right meow. Let's go. I don't know if I'm just optimistic or what, but I don't know if I've rated one this high before. Or
really?
Not rated one this high before, but rated one this high in a while. We'll see what happens, because it doesn't always end up that way after the math comes out. Math fucks everything up. Okay. I've definitely rated other bottles with this rating. Nothing to be mad at, but we'll get to the final rating when we get to it. So let's start that journey, shall we?
Let's do it.
What'd you give it on the nose?
I gave it a 4.
A 4? I gave it a 4.5. So you liked
That
it?
makes sense. Mm-hmm.
You might have even kind of sort of loved it.
Yeah.
But you weren't wowed by it. You weren't surprised by it? I mean, you tried the other two tonight.
Right.
And you weren't wowed or surprised by any of that.
Well, I went from a 3.5. I've bumped myself up to a 4.
You have. You've gone up.
I'll take it. It's a great nose.
I'll take it. I'm not here to argue. I'm just here to get specifics. Kind of dig a little deeper.
Perspective.
Not go all the way into the weeds. Just stick a foot in there.
Perspective.
Shake your foot around in the weeds and see if there's a snake. I'm a snake. All right, so palate. What'd you give it on the palate?
4.25.
4.25. I gave it 4.75 because I was like, holy hot damn. This is...
We're just right back to our same bat channel, same bat station.
Pretty much, yeah. Because I wasn't wowed. I wasn't surprised, but I was very, very happy.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm very, very, very happy, I'm surprised. I'm not wowed, but I'm surprised. That's like base level surprise. So I was very, very happy with this because it gave me everything that I wanted from the straight bourbon or from the straight rye whiskey, only with the added benefit of the aging in the Merlot cask, which I definitely enjoy. How about the finish?
Another 4.25.
Yeah, we're same bad channel. I gave it 4.75. So a whole fucking half. I almost said half step. We're not tuning guitars. A whole half point lower. How about the bottle presentation?
So I debated a little bit.
Yeah.
The other bottles I just gave it just a round 3.
Yeah.
I came up to 3.5 for this one. I possibly should have and could have come up a little bit more than that, but I landed on 3.5, and I feel good about that. I think 3.5 is a great score for a bottle. There's nothing wow necessarily about it, but the differences between this and their standard line of that makes sense. And I love, it has the same zigzag edge that the other label has on the top, but this has it all the way around, and the little half circle cutout on the ends really gives a strong nod to this being a
ticket,
a train ticket. Yep.
Yeah, and I didn't even notice that until today.
She's got a ticket to ride.
Like, I've owned this bottle since late October. I did not notice that it was a ticket until tonight. And if that's what the other bottles were supposed to go for, I'm gonna need that semicircle cutout
right
on there.
And it also has
regular
the
labels.
Zigzag cut is just on the top of the other labels.
Yeah.
Whereas this has it all four sides.
All four sides, just like a
with the cutouts on,
like a
on
regular tearaway ticket. Yep. I was very happy with it. So you gave it what, 3.5? Half? Okay, so on the others, I gave those 3.5, but on this one, I bumped it up to 4.
I think that's fair.
I mean, I really like all the extra information you get on the side of it. You get the experimental line name, the Red Rye. You get the batch description, the rye whiskey finished in red wine barrel. You get the bottle number. It's a super limited to only 316. You get the proof all the way down to the 100th, 116.46, and the ABV also. I love this cool little the shape of the bottle and the size of the bottle.
Yeah.
It's like this little handheld little motherfucker. It's got a thick base on it.
For the size of it, that's a super thick base.
Yeah. Like, if you drop it, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, it's a rounded square bottle.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Slightly tapered from top to bottom.
The other ones are shouldered, but it's a round bottle.
Yeah.
This one's square,
but round,
with all the edges rounded off.
Just like I like my ladies. What did I just say? I don't know. Whiskey. But this one, I didn't give it any extra points for the topper and cork, because it's the same topper.
Yep.
It's the same composite cork. I love seeing the side over here. It's got, with all the government warning shit. It's just very simple on the side here. Junction 35, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's got their state symbol there with
the 3
the
stars.
circle with the 3 stars. Off the rails on one side, experimental line on the other. I don't know. I like it.
What's the number again?
186 of 316.
Awesome. Yeah, they are half-size bottles.
They are.
But that is still a very small run.
Very small. Yeah. So for my final score ended up being 9. 9 out of 10.
Mine ended up being 8 out of 10.
8 even. Yeah, and so if you wonder how we get to these final scores here on the Savor the Burn ratings, we use nose, palate, finish, bottle presentation, and our final score is all of those previous criteria: the nose, palate, finish, bottle presentation, added up and divided by 2.
And each one of those individual categories is a 1 to 5.
A 1 to 5, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
You add those up for a total possible of 20.
Yeah.
And then divide those by 2.
And that's how we end up with our rating, our 1 to 10 rating. Could we do 1 to 10 on each of these 4 and divide by 4?
Oh, we absolutely could. Yeah. Would it make any difference though? I
don't think so. We're using
quarters.
We're using quarters.
I think if we were trying to be disciplined to stay to whole numbers, then I think the 1 to 5 starts to become a little bit too limited. I think a 1 to 10 would make more sense.
Yeah.
This case, because we are allowing ourselves a quarter point within there, then I feel like the end result would be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, I just feel the 1 to 5 is a little cleaner when you're talking about the specific attributes
Yeah.
of
And,
the rating.
I don't have any problem with this rating.
No.
We've used this rating for, I can't even say nearly a year because we weren't doing the ratings at first. It
Right,
took us a couple of months at least.
The first half of the year, we were just doing from the hip.
Yeah, from the hip of 1 to
Oh
10.
yeah, that's a 7.5.
Yeah, be like
or whatever.
my old metal shop teacher, Mr. Allen, being like, "Yeah, I give it a C." Like, well, how are you even judging that?
Right.
But you don't question the teacher.
And I remember when we first kind of decided to get a little bit more granular with this.
Yeah,
It felt weird and awkward to land there, and I remember going, wow, this is different than what I think I would have shot from the hip
yeah.
with. But now that we've done it
In the beginning of using this system, we did that.
Yeah.
We give ourselves the shoot from the hip score, and then we go back and do the fucking math.
But now that
end up with something completely different.
Now that we've been doing it like this for so long, this feels natural to me now.
Yeah.
And I think if I were to start trying to shoot from the hip, I think my numbers would be closer now than what they were when we first started.
If I had to shoot from the hip, I'd use this rating.
Yeah.
And not even shoot from the hip. That was really good. It's not stag good. It's not Weller Antique.
Night.
Yes, you did. It's not Weller Antique 107 good. It's not even Booker's good. But this is very good. It's a 9.0. At least for me, it's an 8.0 for Mr. W2.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
I do too.
So I wrote back. I wrote down here the little synopsis down here at the bottom of the of my notes page of the Junction 35 off the rails. I said, really, I mean, what else can you say about this? Because this was available late October, and it had already been picked through like at least halfway. So all of these are probably sold out. They're completely gone, and they've got one or two.
They've got a new offering.
One or two other new offerings since then. So really, this is just kind of a you're here right now. This is what it is. It is what it is. Kind of synopsis here. So I say this super rare limited edition rye whiskey was a pleasant surprise from nose to finish. Boasting 95% rye and 5% barley, this allocated whiskey was absolutely fantastic. I called it an allocated whiskey just on my basic understanding of what allocated whiskeys are. It's this. I could have said this rare whiskey was absolutely fantastic. Stop into Junction 35 Spirits for any and all versions of their off-the-rails experimental line offerings. Please let us know what you get, and let us know what you think.
I like it.
I like it too. Dear listener, if you find yourself in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, please stop by Junction 35 Spirits. It's over there in like a little kind of touristy strip mall. Well, strip mall's the wrong version. If you see a big tower where people are doing what is that? Cornhole. There's like life-size chess pieces like 3 foot tall. There's a huge green space with a shit ton of astroturf. It's the greenest grass that you've never seen actually growing in somebody's yard. So if you go see a field of that and you look directly at it and you look slightly to the left or slightly to the right, and you'll see Junction 35. You'll see like the kind of train logo of it. Go in there and first things first, grab yourself a bottle of this Junction 35 off the rails experimental line. Take a picture of it if you want. But definitely send us a description of it and tell us all about it. Send us an email, info@savortheburn.com. Email me, Jonathan, @savortheburn.com. Email Wayne, w2@savortheburn.com. And definitely let us know what you think. And if you don't end up buying that and you get what we call a gimmick whiskey, no shame on you, dude. Absolutely not. Whatever it is that you like, we want to know what you like. Because we may end up doing a gimmick whiskey recording section at some point because we've got this howler.
Let's just call it a gimmick whiskey palooza.
We've already got the fucking name of it. Great. It could be a series that we do one a month. Gimmick Whiskey Palooza.
I like that.
Episode 1. 2024. This is fucking the Howler Monkey or the Howler Banana Whiskey. This is what we thought of it neat. This is what we did with it.
We got a bunch of Old Smokies over there.
Got a bunch of Old Smokies. There are so many Old Smokies, and we haven't even gotten to the actual bourbon that they had for sale at Old Smoky. I forgot what the fuck it's called. It's over here. Hang on.
That's from Old Smoky?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. And we haven't even gotten to this Oban, the OBYN or ONB, OWNBY bourbon. Yeah, I picked up that bottle from Old Smoky.
Fucking hell. Old Smoky right there in the shit.
It's got its own story. It's got this whole
all right.
Very cool thing. James Ownby Reserve Tennessee Straight Bourbon Whiskey. We'll get to it eventually, but that to me this is not a gimmick. It's the fucking
no. That's legit.
The pickles in the jar, the cherries in the jar, the banana cream pie flavored shit. Mm-hmm. That's all gimmick whiskey to me.
I mean, as much as I love salted caramel, the salted caramel.
Yeah, Crown Royal has a salted caramel. Good luck fucking finding it. I have a bottle at the house.
That shit's fucking good.
You've had it? That one?
I've had several of them.
Okay. Well, I have not. I have a bottle of it. I was going to use it for something. I totally forgot what. Whatever. So,
that's the light brown caramel colored bag, which I've got sitting right over there.
Oh, shit. Okay, so you've been there, done that, bought the bag.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So yeah, maybe we could do that just to find a way to fucking get through these gimmick whiskeys that we brought over in this brainstorm idea of when we were talking about the early days of the podcast, like what is it we want to do, and I've got all these different things at the house. We could have ourselves an Old Smoky night. We could have ourselves a what are the other ones?
Sugarland.
A Sugarlands night. That kind of thing. So we just never did that.
Right. Well, we went pedal to the floor.
We did.
Found sixth gear and...
Yeah, we went through a couple of Flavier taster packs and ended up... And if you want to know what Flavier is, it's a subscription-based mail order whiskey kind of thing. You can sign up for basic stuff. Go to savortheburn.com/shop. It's probably the first thing you run into when you scroll down. You'll find it there. No pressure, but if you sign up for it, you subscribe, you get a free bottle. Your first bottle that you get for free also triggers us. Savor the Burn to get a free bottle as well. So no pressure to try that out, but definitely if you're looking to do something like that for yourself or for a friend or a loved one, use our affiliate link on savortheburn.com/shop. So thank you, dear listener, for listening to this episode of the Savor the Burn podcast. Thank you for following along on your podcast app of choice. Thank you for following along, and hopefully you are following along, on our social medias. Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and if you don't find us on any of the other social media platforms that you think we should be on, let us know. Send us an email, info@savortheburn.com. Send me an email, jonathan@savortheburn.com. Send Wayne an email at w2@savortheburn.com, and we will be happy to read it, and probably might even read it on air right here in Savor the Burn Studios. So thank you for listening. No matter what you're drinking, who you're drinking it with, never forget, dear listener, keep on burning.